Right guys, welcome back. We've got a fair bit to go through in this video. Obviously, the Champions League draw, Nick Woltemade, the Leeds preview. So we'll get started. So Champions League draw. Obviously, we've got Union SG, Athletic Club, PSV, Marseille, Benfica, Leverkusen, PSG and Barcelona. Now, looking at these fixtures compared to last time, I think the draw seems like it's a difficult draw, but on the face of it, there's 6 games in there, I'd say, that are easier than what we had last time. If you look at Union SG, Athletic Club, PSV, Marseille, Benfica, Leverkusen, I'd say that every one of those is an easier game than playing AC Milan, PSG or Dortmund. And I think with the structure of the new league system, I think we'll have a lot better success than we did last time. I think also the fixture congestion that we had last time, we seemed to play some very difficult teams in the league in the run up to that Champions League start. And while we had a fantastic start with the PSG game at home at St James's Park, the fixture congestion after that was like playing full-on games twice a week. And I know that's what you expect in the Champions League, and you expect to play the highest teams and the biggest clubs at the highest level. But I feel like we were stuck with an injury-hampered squad playing the most intense games twice a week over the course of our Champions League run. But when it comes down to the last 2 fixtures, PSG away, that's going to be a tricky one. They're obviously a lot better team than they were when we played them last time. Even losing the stars, the youngsters they've brought through, they've clearly shown their quality. So the one for me, Barcelona at home, while that looks like a difficult fixture, and it is a difficult fixture, as we all know, under the lights, St James's Park, if we put in the performance that we put in against Liverpool, against Barcelona, I think we stand a chance. I think Newcastle always stand a chance with the 12th man at St James's Park. When the fans are going, and that stadium will be electric for that game, we always stand a chance. The way these fixtures are structured, I think we'll definitely stand a chance of qualifying to the knockouts. And I think as long as we get to the knockout stages, we'll have done ourselves proud. You never know what happens. As soon as you hit the knockouts, you never know. I mean, if you look back to our Carabao Cup run last year, we played Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool as a run-up to winning the League Cup. You couldn't have 3 harder teams. Plus, if you take into account that last time, the draw for the Champions League, we were drawn in the group of death, probably the hardest group there was. And I didn't think we represented ourselves that badly. While we got smashed both times by Dortmund and we didn't look great, both legs of PSG we looked good. AC Milan, I felt we were unlucky. You know, with the injuries and suspensions that we had at the time, I think we gave a good account of ourselves. So moving on to the Leeds game. Welcome back to the Premier League, Leeds United. A massive club, massive fan base. Similar to us, great fans, big atmosphere. Ellen Road will be bouncing come the weekend. And if there's one thing that I know Leeds will do, it's back their team. That their fan base will be the 12th man when we go to Ellen Road. Now, I don't feel they've started too badly to the Premier League with 1 win and 1 loss. Obviously, they got torn apart by Arsenal, but it's to be expected. You look in the disparity in money spent. I think the Leeds squad, they got a chance. They have got a chance of staying up this year. I think the players they've brought in, they've definitely bolstered in key areas. Obviously, we know Sean Longstaff. But I think overall, with our injuries, having Joel Linton out, obviously Anthony Gordon suspended for 3 games won't help us, and Sandro Tonali as a possible, I mean, Eddie said it in his press conference, it's a touch and go maybe. And obviously Fabian Schär following the concussion protocols, will be back. I think we should have too much for them. We should be winning this game. But there's always a chance that Leeds match us for intensity, because one thing I will say is that squad does look like it will give everything. We just have to hope that our class or quality on the pitch can outshine the newly promoted Leeds. The other thing, obviously, is that Anthony Gordon being suspended, we're without our makeshift striker. But I have to say, Gordon not scoring in the first 2 games and Willisula coming in for 10 minutes and getting a goal, you've got to give Willisula a go. I think he's hungry, he shows desire. You know, we all want it for Will. I think he's a great lad, great personality, he's great around the club. The players love him, the fans love him, you know. I think he had a decent summer playing in the Euro Under-21s. He got a few goals, he presented himself well, he looked lively. I thought he gave a good account of himself, and I think if you look at where he was this time last year, when we just brought him in, he looks a much more rounded player. He's obviously not at the levels, and he's not even coming into his full potential yet, but I think with game time, Asula could be a real player. We obviously have to hope that Sean Longstaff doesn't come back to haunt us and get a goal against us at Ellen Road. But if there's one thing we know about Sean, is that he will run, he will give his all, he will try and match us for the intensity that we offer. So if we can, knowing Sean, keep him quiet, I think we should be able to see this one through over the line and get 3 points at Leeds. I personally think we should make a few changes. Obviously, bar the suspensions and the injuries. I think this one, I'd quite like to see Ramsdale come in and get an appearance and see how we can play with playing out from the back, especially in a game where I feel like we can draw Leeds in. They play a high press as well. They play a 4-2-3-1. And obviously they like to push up high with those 3 behind the striker. And I feel like we could utilise the drawing them out to get in behind. I don't think they'll sit in a low block, especially at Ellen Road. But Ramsdale's obviously got the ability to play with his feet better than Nick Pope. I'd like to see Ramsdale come in for a start. I think we'll play Trips, Shah, Byrne and Livramento as the back line. I think Lewis Hall won't be far off getting some first team starts after the international window. I think the midfield 3 will be most likely Bruno, Sandro and Ramsey. Ramsey, I'm really excited to see him come in. Again, Villa fans are gutted at losing him. I think he's a massive talent. I think he's got real potential. Sandro being touch and go, obviously there's part of me that thinks maybe rest him for the international break and bring Lewis Miley in. And then the more likely scenario, I think, Eddie will want to get his first win, or our first win, under our belt this season, and try and elevate a bit of positivity back into the camp before the international break, and then straight after we can kind of start to kick on and push ourselves back into the position where we'd like to be. The front three, I'd like to see Murphy come back in. I think Alanga's been decent in his first 2 games. He looks sharp, he looks fast, but I think we've missed a bit of Jacob Murphy this season. I think the crossing ability and the shooting from range, Murphy does offer us something very different to Anthony Alanga. And on his performances last year, I don't think he should be straight back out of the team. I think we've got to give Murph some game time. He was fantastic last year. I think it will be Barnes on the left wing and Asula up front. Again, Asula's earned his place. I think he needs to be given the chance, and he's worked hard all summer. Obviously, we didn't have the greatest pre-season, and I think most of that was down to transfer looming and more talk about Isak than actually about how we performed or, getting up to speed. And obviously the games we played, they weren't great, but it's getting players in the minutes legs, and you can see from that Liverpool game that we're ready to go now. I think most of all the takeaway is, if we can put that much desire into winning a game, we'll be fine this season. I'd like to know what you think the score will be for Leeds versus Newcastle. Hit me up in the comments and let me know. Also, if you can, name the first goal scorer. And I think I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Newcastle. I don't think we'll keep Leeds out the entire game, but I'd be happy to take a 3-1 win from Ellen Road. And now, obviously, on to Nick Woltemade. It is pronounced Woltemade, by the way. That is the way his name's pronounced. I can't say that I've watched loads of Nick Woltemade, but I will say that I did watch the under-21 Euros. He was fantastic in that. He looks like he's a hell of a big guy. He's got a presence, very technical, very driven. He's got a good finish on him. If you look at his stats compared to Hugo Ekitike or Alex Isak, from the times that they were brought into big clubs and for their breakout seasons, he has the potential to be a brilliant player. And I think, obviously not this season, but in years to come, I do think he has the potential to surpass where Alex Isak is now. One of the things I've noticed most about Woltemade, reading through Stuttgart fans' comments, is that they believe that he can go on to be a world-class player. They believe that he is one of the best players in the league with potential. And they believe that he can go on to be better than Ekitike. And that's not just, I think, fans touting their own player. I genuinely believe they're gutted to lose him. And the way they speak about his ability, his technical ability, his close control, his power, his presence, he can finish with left foot, right foot header, his composure in the fine moments, I think is what they believe will lead him to be a world-class player. Now, I think, as we've seen, when Alex Isak came in at the age he was, similar age, similar profile, Isak wasn't the finished product. He was far from it. And the coaching that Eddie has given him to take him to that 2, 3, 4 next levels and press on and become this striker that everybody wants and is seen on the world stage as being one of the best. I genuinely believe that given the time, obviously not this season, but given the time, Woltemade has the potential to go on and be a fully fledged world-class player. I have to say as well, having seen all of the reports that from Fabrizio Romano and everybody online that Newcastle won't ever be able to attract young world-class talent after this window and the way that things have gone, this just blows it out of the water, doesn't it? The players we've brought in, Woltemade over the line, we look like we're going to go out and get another. Obviously, there's Wisser and Strand Larsen who've both been pulled from their teams for the weekend and won't be playing, with speculation of a move. I'd like to know what you think, whether you think it will be Wisser or Strand Larsen. I personally am 50-50. There's part of me that thinks we'll go out and find somebody else. I did find it interesting that we haven't given Woltemade the number 9 shirt and he's taken 27. And that makes me believe that either we don't want to heap the pressure on him too soon of that big number 9 shirt, or that we plan on bringing someone of a bigger profile or of more seasoned Premier League experience in to fill that number 9 role. We'll wait and see on that. Who knows? But the other thing that makes me believe that Woltemade will be a quality player is the fact that Bayern Munich was so desperate to sign him. Now, Bayern Munich never really pay the huge transfer fees. They always look for a good price for a great player. And they have signed some quality players, obviously Harry Kane exception with the transfer fee. But when you look through the comments from Bayern Munich fans, obviously they're calling us, they're fuming at the fact that we are the Saudi oil money club that have come in and stolen the player that should be playing for them. It just tells you that they believe he's going to go on to great things. And if a club of that stature wanted him and we've managed to take him, I think that's a great step in the right direction for our ownership and Newcastle United. The Woltemade signing didn't get over the line in time for him to play against Leeds United, which I think is actually a good thing. I think it will give him time to settle in. I think over the international break, he'll get time to integrate into the squad, find his feet, get a feel for the team, learn the tactics of Eddie, and hopefully hit the ground running when he comes back. Let me know in the comments if you believe Woltemade has the potential to be as good as the Stuttgart fans think he will be, or as I personally believe that he'll become a top Premier League striker and maybe even a world-class striker. So I'll leave it there for today. If you've liked the content, please give me a like, give me a sub, hit the bell notification, hit me up in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.